Everyone loves to talk about the bright side of spiritual awakening, right? The synchronicities, the aha moments, that feeling of being plugged into the universe. But what happens when that light dims and you're left in a confusing, crushing darkness you never expected? If your awakening feels more like a complete breakdown and you've never felt more lonely or lost, this is for you. We're going to talk about the part of the journey everyone whispers about but no one really wants to discuss. The dark night of the soul. This isn't about being negative. It's about being real. The spiritual path isn't just about floating up to the light. It's about walking through the darkness to find it. It's a process that forces you to meet the deepest, most uncomfortable parts of yourself. And if that's where you are right now, feeling like you're losing your mind, I need you to hear me. You are not crazy and you are not alone. What you're experiencing is a known, well-documented, and ultimately life-changing process. For a long time, the mainstream spiritual narrative has been all about pure positivity. It's sold as an escape from the messiness of being human, a fast track to permanent bliss. But that's only half the story. A true spiritual awakening doesn't let you bypass the pain of the human condition. It makes you dive headfirst into it. It forces you to finally look at everything you've spent your life avoiding. The real journey often begins not when you feel connected to everything, but when you feel profoundly disconnected even from your own self. This is where the term the dark night of the soul comes in. It was coined by the 16th century mystic St. John of the Cross to describe a period of deep spiritual desolation. It's a crisis where your old reality and who you thought you were starts to dissolve. Now, it's often confused with clinical depression, and while the symptoms can feel similar, their roots are different. A dark night is a spiritual trial, an internal purification that kicks in when your soul is ready to shed everything that isn't true. It feels like your entire world is falling apart because, in a way, it is. The world you built on illusions is making way for one built on truth. So, what does this actually feel like? If you're going through it, these are going to sound painfully familiar. First, there's a profound sense of meaninglessness. The things that used to light you up, your career, hobbies, even relationships, can suddenly feel hollow. It's a full-blown existential crisis where you question every single thing. This isn't just a bad mood, it's a feeling in your bones that the life you've been living is a performance. Then the loneliness hits. Or, as your perspective shifts, it can feel impossible to relate to the people around you. Small talk feels exhausting, their priorities seem strange, and you might find yourself pulling away, needing to be alone just to handle the chaos in your own head. It's a strange paradox. You're starting to feel connected to some bigger picture, yet you feel more alone as a person than ever. This inner turmoil can also show up physically. Now, in many spiritual circles, you'll hear people talk about ascension symptoms, things like intense fatigue, weird sleep patterns, dizziness, or being highly sensitive to noise and energy. While these experiences are widely reported, it's important to frame them as a belief, not a medical diagnosis. If you are experiencing new or intense physical symptoms, the first step should always be to consult a medical doctor to rule out any underlying health issues. And maybe the scariest part, the loss of identity. The ego, that part of you that is your name, your job, your story, starts to crumble. It can feel like you're dying because, in a sense, a part of you is. You're left in a void, a confusing space where you honestly don't know who you are anymore. This is the heart of the dark night, shedding the false self to make room for the true one. So why on earth does this happen? Why would something meant to bring you to the truth feel so destructive? The best way to understand it is through the caterpillar to butterfly analogy. For a caterpillar to become a butterfly, it has to completely dissolve in the chrysalis. It turns into a kind of soupy liquid. Almost nothing of its old self remains. That state of total annihilation is a powerful metaphor for the dark night of the soul. You're that soup. The structures of your ego, your limiting beliefs, your old traumas, and your social conditioning are all being broken down. You can't build a new, authentic life on a cracked foundation. The old stuff has to be completely cleared out. This is what people mean by ego death. It's the process of realizing you are not your thoughts or your life story. Your whole life you've probably believed you are your thoughts and feelings. The dark night is your soul stepping in to show you that you are the awareness behind all of it. But the ego won't go quietly. It will trigger fear, doubt, and panic because its very existence is threatened. The deep pain you feel is often years of repressed energy and trauma finally coming to the surface to be healed. It feels awful, but it's actually a profound act of spiritual housekeeping. When you're in that darkness, your first instinct is to fight it, to fix it, to find the escape hatch. But the paradox here is that the only way out is through. The key isn't to struggle, it's to surrender. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means giving in. It's about allowing the tough emotions to be there without judging them or trying to push them away. When you feel sad, let yourself be sad. When you're confused, allow yourself to sit in the not knowing. Fighting the pain just makes it stick around longer. This is a time for radical self-kindness. Talk to yourself the way you talk to a friend who's having a hard time. This is not the moment to be pushing yourself. It's time to be gentle. Say no to things. Get off your phone. Create quiet space. Practical tools can be life rafts in this storm. Meditation can help you observe your inner chaos without getting swept away. Spending time in nature can be incredibly grounding. Eating well and getting enough sleep aren't luxuries, they're essential. And while this is a spiritual process, it can feel psychologically overwhelming. There is immense value in seeking support from a therapist or counselor, especially one who is open to or understands spiritual experiences. True spirituality doesn't ask you to pretend you're not in pain, it asks you to have the courage to feel it. We also have to talk about a very real danger. When you're feeling this lost and desperate for answers, you are extremely vulnerable to manipulative teachers and spiritual cults. These groups are experts at targeting the loneliness and confusion of the awakening process. They offer a sense of belonging and all the answers you've been looking for, but the price is usually your personal power. Red flags include a leader who demands total loyalty and punishes questions, pressure to cut off friends and family who aren't part of the group, and using fear or guilt to control you. A true guide empowers you to find your own authority. A false one demands you give your authority to them. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it is. Never let anyone convince you that your own inner guidance is broken and that they have the only key. The dark night of the soul is not a permanent address. It is a transition. As you move through it, as you allow the old you to fall away, something new starts to emerge. A self that is more real, more resilient, and more integrated. The intense pain eventually softens into a new kind of peace and a quiet clarity. You crawl out of the chrysalis not as the caterpillar you were, but as something else entirely. The life on the other side isn't one of non-stop, cheesy happiness. It's something better, it's real. It's a life lived from a place of deep inner truth. The desperate need for other people's approval fades, replaced by a quiet confidence in who you are. Loneliness transforms into a peaceful solitude. You're still in the world, but you're no longer completely defined by it. This journey isn't a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that you are becoming whole. It's a sacred, powerful, and messy initiation. It's the spiritual growing pain required to make space for who you are truly meant to be. If any of this felt like your own story, please know you are part of a silent tribe of people going through one of the most profound human experiences possible. You are not walking this path alone. I invite you to share your experience in the comments, not for advice but just to bear witness to each other. Let's create a space of real support, proving that even in the dark we're still connected. And if you want to keep exploring the real, unfiltered side of spiritual growth, be sure to subscribe. Your light shines brightest only after you've learned to navigate your own shadows.